I watched a few of his videos the whole time. Alright, Eric Janicki back with the legend, Greg Doucette. I hope you guys loved our first Natty or Not video, because we are back for part number 2. So we are going through more of your favorite influencers and letting you guys know, are they natty or are they not?
Sam Sulek, and I think we're both going to say he's not.
Natural for sure.
He's natural for sure. I mean, this is obvious as Michael Hearn. I was going to say, I think that the question is he on abusive doses that's going to shorten his life? Like, is he on all of the shit? Is he on insulin, growth hormone test, trend, everything? Or is he on moderate cycles, saving himself for later? Because as a young man, not that you should take this, but you obviously would want to start on a lower dose and titrate upwards as you get older. Do you think he's abusing now, or do you think he's like on small doses and saving it for later?
I think that Sam is full send. I like to call him full send Sam, because he is a very intelligent human being, but he also, that is being superseded by his just desire to grow. Because like he knows, I think deep down he knows when he goes and trains with that type of intensity, like risk of injury is higher, right? But he's like, I love training like this. I don't want to train another way. So like he's a smart guy and he understands, like, let's say the risks of training like that. I think what really tipped me was like seeing that full day of eating video. It's like, it's just the extremes, right? And I don't know if he's doing it for the camera or this is really like the way he eats, but the whole gallons of milk a day. We had a full like half gallon of chocolate milk to start the day. I'm sure you guys all saw the video. But to me, that tells me there's a little bit of reckless abandon when it comes to like kind of size at all costs. Like you see this guy's like GI is terrible. He's burping. I watched a few of his videos the whole time. Like, I mean, you can tell like he's just like his GI is not where it needs to be. But it's just like at this point for him, it's like this growth at all costs. And I think that is causing him. And I think there is even talk of Fuad sitting him down and saying, hey man, like you got to chill out on the PED usage, the way you're eating, the way you're training, because it's fun now. But when you're 26, 28, 31, 40s, 50, if you make it that far, not gonna, don't want to wish any badly on anybody, but it's going to catch up to you. And I think that a lot of these kids that are watching need to take note of that, because what they see is the fame. They see from 0 to like 600,000 subscribers and hundreds of thousands of video views on every single video. They see the massive growth. They see him staying relatively lean as he bulks. They see him, breaking down his movement patterns and really that organic, and they adore that. So I think it's just a matter of like really being careful, understanding what he's doing is not a safe long-term solution.
I have to say that was a great answer. I don't want to add anything to that. I agree with every single point that he's made. So I think we both have the same opinion on this guy. We caution him to maybe be careful and to try to live a long life, because it seems like it's obvious that it's on abusive doses right now, and you got to be careful. You got to live longer than last time. All right, and you played football, so that brings me to the next guy. Johnny Shreve also played football, and he's admittedly a guy that used performance-enhancing drugs. He's an IFBB pro. He was in the open class. And so what's interesting is after all that, he decided, I'm going to go 100% natural. And so I did think he went 100% natural. And by that I mean not even on HRT. Like, I'm on 140 milligrams HRT a week. That makes me feel really good. I have testosterone levels around 800 nanograms per deciliter. My blood work looks amazing. And so for me, that works. He said he went 100% natural, cold turkey, nothing. Okay. Now recently he's doing the Masters Olympia. Okay. So he's competing on the professional scale, and it's not drug tested. You can do whatever you want, so it wouldn't be cheating. But he said he's doing nothing, no HRT, no performance-enhancing drugs whatsoever. And so he made a video, and he said, addressing the fact that people are saying, they don't believe him that he's natural. Now, he has no blood work to show, so we can't say yes or no. We only have his physique to go by. So do you think that it's possible that he's not added anything, that he was on, whatever cycles in the past for whatever years, and that he went off of everything and kept that much muscle and was able to get, in decent condition without anything?
There's a few factors we have to look at when it comes to Johnny. And so first we have to look at the before coming off. What did that look like? What was the duration of those cycles? What was the intensity of those cycles? Because if he was somebody that was running, I know you said you knew him personally.
Well, I did coach him, but I don't want to talk about everything.
Of course.
But,
so if we're like talking like crazy dosing, then that drop off's going to be more severe than if he was doing maybe towards the end of his career, maybe being a little bit more mindful, saying maybe I'm not.
Well, mind you, his best would be the last show would be. He's an IFBB pro at the open class, wanting to go to the Olympic as a goal.
Okay. So, yeah, so the dosing was probably relatively high. So that's the first thing we have to take consideration. Second thing is duration after coming off. So it's only been 2 years. I think the drop-off is going to be way more severe in year 3, 5, 7, beyond the point of...
Really? I would disagree. I would say the biggest drop-off is the initial. Like, when you go off, when you do cycles, so I've done like 12-week cycles, go off for 12 weeks. I'm like, the first 6 weeks after I can keep a fair bit, then after it really drops. Once your testosterone levels crash, you lose a ton.
So, for example, for myself, I had to get off of everything for a year and a half when my wife and I were trying to get pregnant. So at the beginning, I did the HCG, HMG, clomiphene, and then completely titrated off of everything. While I did not feel good at all, I actually didn't lose quite as much scale weight as I thought I would because I kept everything else consistent. I did the training the same way. I kept eating, I kept tracking my food, focusing on my sleep. And I think that's a big factor is like a lot of guys, when they cycle off, they feel like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym anymore. Like the pump sucks. Like, it's like, I'll just wait till my next cycle. Maybe I'll go and try to hit it like 2 to 3 days a week, but they're not doing the same things. They're probably not hitting their meals because the motivation's so much less. Whereas, like, let's say he's doing everything the same way. He's still hitting his meals. I think the drop-off's going to be less severe.
Now, Jay Cutler said on a podcast with Milos, he said that he looked his best when taking HCG. And I'm thinking that probably meant after going off, and he was on HCG as part of the PCT, and perhaps he was eating a little bit more as opposed to dieting for the show. And he says it looked the best on HCG. And he says, and I'm like, oh, I have to believe him, because why would he lie? He says he feels just as good off as on. No test, HRT not. He's like, I feel good. And he wants to, after he was doing a guest posing, he wanted to just say, I'm going to just go off everything, do an experiment. He doesn't think he needs HRT. Do you think he'll be able to pull it off? Because obviously he's not natural. He wants to do no HRT for the rest of his life. He says, I feel pretty good. And Milos was saying, you're not going to be able to do it. But he's like, I can do it. What do you think about that for Jay Cutler?
I think no. And I think that the reason is the duration of use. He started probably steroids when he was probably 18,
I would say late teen.
Late teen, 17, 18. Mm-hmm. And now you're talking about he's 50. I think he just turned 50.
Yeah.
So that's 30 years of androgen use. Inevitably, the more time you take to shut down your natural production, the longer it's going to take to respur it, and the harder it is as you age. So if you've been doing androgynous testosterone usage and obviously a ton of other PDs, it's going to be so much harder for you at age 50 to respur your natural production. I don't see it. I think he could probably get away with like maybe HCG, clomiphene, that type of thing, and maybe it'll bring his levels back to, let's say, 600-700, but I don't think he'll be able to get off of it. I don't think he'll be able to just like get off of clomiphene HCG and then be like at levels of 800 just naturally. I think that his levels would inevitably drop down to like 300 or 200 after that, and kind of find that homeostasis, and maybe he feels okay at that. I mean, some people do. I just don't see it.
It could be possibly that for that short period of time when he's off of everything, he feels just as good. But it maybe, like you said, it's a year and a half later, then you really notice it. So maybe you go off steroids, you feel okay, you get by, but then a couple of years later, you're like, oh, well, now it sucks.
I mean, here's what Jay's talking about, okay? So if you guys have ever competed, right, and you've competed enhanced, the post-show is like the best you've ever felt. Because like you're coming off of a time where you're the most depleted, and then you add food back in, and your training just like goes crazy. You feel like you get these crazy pumps in the gym, and it's really not due to the PEDs. It's actually due because a lot of people modulate off after their show. They get off the orals, they get off the kind of more intense stuff, but they feel the best because the food. The food is the most anabolic substance on earth. If you, and you've spoken to this as well, when you were on even when you were on PEDs, your strength was so much lower when you were close to the show.
It's garbage.
Garbage.
You feel like shit too. Like people think that you can just take steroids and you feel amazing. It's like you need food. Food makes you feel better than drugs. It's like you need it for survival.
Yeah.
You don't eat enough. I don't care what you're taking. You're not building muscle.
So I think that's the biggest misconception is like, oh, these guys are taking, like, probably feel the craziest and best closest to the show. So what he's experiencing is this like kind of post-show phase where he's probably taking HCG, has come off of everything, is in kind of what they call your health phase, which is, I think, a funny term for any bodybuilder. But he's in this kind of health phase where he's rebounding and eating a lot of food. And so, of course, you're going to feel freaking amazing because you're coming off the show, you're eating, your training's crazy, your sex drive comes back. But I don't think that's a sustainable feeling. Like, that lasts for maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks. But then the reality sets in that, oh, you come off all this stuff, and now you're in this health phase. And I think that, especially if you come off everything and then completely gone cold turkey, I don't think you'd feel as good.
Next up, Jesse James West.
Jesse James West. He's a friend of mine. I'm going to say natural because I think I'm always looking at trends. And also my big thing with Jesse is Jesse doesn't predicate his growth on social media on his physique. He has built his whole brand on his being fun and doing challenges. So if he were to be out of shape and still keep doing these challenges, like, he would still grow on YouTube. Like, if he like just kind of got fat and just was hosting and like running around, and like, I get it, it really helps him to have a nice physique, shirt off, good looking guy. But I don't think there's so much pressure for him to be like the 1% of the 1% physiques. I think he's got a great natural physique, but I don't think it would do anything for him to maybe put on another 10 pounds of muscle. He's still going to grow on YouTube. And that's why, for me personally, I don't think the pressure is there for him. I think he has joked about it, but he also has a very lighthearted like way of talking about it himself, his physique. I don't think he has body dysmorphia. I think he's just like, yeah, I got a natural physique. I get it. I have a pretty good natural physique. I have things I don't like about my physique, but it's not going to like be the make or break for me. I think he's a very human oriented person. I think he's a very experiential oriented person. And I think that's more important to him than maybe like an extra little bit of muscle.
I think if he went on gear and got jacked, I think it would hurt his channel.
I think
right. People are more relatable. Like this guy, if I work hard and I have great genetics, I could maybe look like this Jesse guy. But if he took steroids and got more enhanced, it makes him more like the different. Like he has 3 million plus followers. I mean, getting more enhanced would hurt him. So why would he bother and take it? Plus, he stated he's natural. If he wasn't and he had the blood work stated, as I've said, you can show your blood work, and he shows his blood work. Why would he lie? It doesn't help him. Like, he's almost like he enters a bodybuilding show, natural, and if he doesn't win, it's almost better. He say, like, look, I did the best I could. I'm natural. I didn't win, but it's okay. I had fun.
Yeah.
I think so. For me, Jesse James is natural. A lot of people don't believe it. I mean, his physique is better than 99% of the people.
I think that's always the thing, though. It's like everybody that looks better than them online is not natural. Because, like, they can't believe deep down, like, how could somebody possibly look better than me or than somebody else, like, if they're not taking something? I think that's the biggest thing.
Do you know what? People fail to see how important genetics are. Like, if you're smart, how much do you have to study to get a 90 average in math? Versus if you're bad in math, you can study all day long and struggle to pass the course. This is the same with weights. Like, if you have great genetics, it's like being a genius. You just show up to the gym and do a few sets and you have a great physique. If you're really struggling, you can work out all you like and not even look below average. You look like crap. You're trying, but it's just not in the cards for you. You can want to be a doctor all you like. You can study 10 hours a day. You can hire a tutor, and you can't pass. You can't become a doctor.
All right, and that's it for part number 2 of Natty or Not. If you're not subscribed to this guy, you're wasting your time. You need to go subscribe to this guy right now. Link will be down in the description. If you're not subscribed to me, I don't even know what to say anymore. Hit that sub button. Hit the bell notification. Without further ado, we'll see you on the next video.